Let's take you to the IMF bailout because barely 24 hours after announcing a May deadline to secure an IMF deal, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta seemed to have backtracked on this definite date, urging caution as he points out an outstanding critical requirement which is simply out of the nation's control. Now, this outstanding requirement is Ghana's creditors submitting assurances of agreeing to restructure debt to the IMF board. More on this shortly. But first, listen to Ken Ofori-Atta announcing the May deadline while engaging investors in Washington, D.C.
For your energy, interest, and positive reportage that the media has generated regarding our current trip to Washington for the 2023 World Bank IMF Spring meetings. I would also like to use this opportunity to give some updates on our engagements in Washington so far. With regards to our conversations with external creditors, our discussions with the fund and our development partners have been marked by a clear understanding of the need to restore macroeconomic and financial stability to Ghana and to promote our economic recovery as quickly as possible. We have highlighted the importance of revenue mobilization, expenditure control, and the implementation of decisive reforms to kickstart our growth. Encouragingly, there's broad alignment with the international community that our policy orientation is not only proactive but also well anchored, and they are convinced that they should support our overall ambitions in this regard. We are advancing our discussions with our international bondholders and other external commercial creditors. Earlier today, as you know, we hosted a successful webcast informing our commercial creditors of our economic and financial situation, while also highlighting the broad contours of Ghana's debt restructuring strategy. Our domestic debt holders have made significant sacrifices towards helping to reduce Ghana's debt servicing needs, and we are encouraging our commercial and foreign holders to also step up and contribute to the effort in the spirit of burden sharing. On the roadmap to an IMF board approval and beyond, in relation to the fund program, on the government side, we have made significant progress and have completed all prior actions agreed to with the fund. Additionally, the Paris Club has met and continues to meet to discuss the delivery of financing assurances. Based on our engagements, we expect these financing assurances to come in the next couple of weeks, thereby enabling Ghana's program to be presented to the IMF board for approval soon after that. Today's webcast was to engage our investors for their support for Ghana's program supported by the fund. We've also met with our development partners on the need to safeguard growth and private investments into Ghana. This government is determined to crowd in private sector growth to accelerate growth. In line with that, we also met with the leadership of the World Bank Group and the IFC earlier in the week and are looking to tailor a private sector focused strategy that ensures that over the next few years, the sectors that are vital to sustainable growth and job creation in Ghana will continue to be supported. We also joined Asset, run by KY Amwakon, at a dinner to look at the growth strategy for Ghana as we move forward. On the issue of climate financing, as chair of the V20 group of finance ministers, I have also been engaging with private sector, multilateral institutions, international financial institutions, colleague ministers and foundations on the sidelines of the IMF World Bank meeting. I highlighted the need for all key stakeholders to form a coalition that will move to Paris, Nairobi, Marrakesh, and eventually Dubai for the COP28 gathering. I think our movement is gathering momentum on the critical transformation that must take place in the international financial system to ensure reforms in debt treatment, improve risk management through instruments like the G7 B20 Global Shield against climate risk, to address loss and damage, and the development of our carbon credit exchanges on a fair shares basis. This will be to ensure adequate investments into adaptation as well as resilience in climate vulnerable countries as the global north formulates and meets ambitious net zero targets that enable the world to maintain the 1.5 degrees temperature threshold. Noting that the world's top 20 emitters contribute 75% to global emissions and have 80 to 85% of the world's GDP, I have highlighted that the moral responsibility lays on these countries, G7 and G20, to drive the course correction and to pay for the socio-economic losses and damage that has been caused as a result of their historical industrial activities.
So that was Ghana's Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta urging caution as to the date this deal will coming eventually. We'll be keeping tabs on this. And